Incursions are dead. Not only are they dead, they're buried 6 feet underground and they are not coming back. Which means we can move on and everybody that quit because of incursions can come on home. But we have so much exciting news because whilst incursions are dead, we have new things that I have Datamined. We have destinations, the sequels to incursions, deep diving into the Legion worlds and conquering some goddamn demon. On top of that, we have the Undermine, a new reputation and a new location with a currency, as well as the Undermarket, the evil twin of that reputation, who we'll have to defeat. And they have an interesting new boss that we get to defeat, and you guys are going to like that one quite a lot, especially if you're American. On top of that, we have Sebastian Jurgens, the Mad Doctor, as well as a Paladin Squire. My good friend Hello J Tello is going to be pissing his pants in excitement about that news right there. You get to level up a little Squire, a little mini-me, all the way from a blue relic into an epic relic. And you get to give him armor. And it's amazing. But find out more further on in today's episode of the ANN. I'm your host Ebenhart. Welcome to the Azeroth News Network. Buckle down because we got a lot of bull to bull through. As I opened up with this video, incursions are dead. But that is good news. Many people hated incursions, and rightfully so. I have nothing to say about incursions aside from the fact that so many people hated incursions because they chose efficiency over fun. And I don't blame them. Sometimes it's more fun to be efficient, but at the end of the day, when you focus on efficiency, fun is left to die in squalor. And that's what happened in Phase 3. Now, Phase 3 had a lot of problems, and I'm not going to deep dive all of them, but Incursions was one of them. And now we have destinations. The sequel, the successor, and hopefully not the Disney version of Incursions. Now, in the case of destinations, they are a very interesting location. We get to deep dive into 5 Legion worlds. These are demon locations. Some of you may have heard of them before. For example, Niskara, which was a location we went to in Legion, the expansion itself. All 5 locations are known as Niskara, Stenga, Evasilia, Zalruk, and Vosh Aranas. And these 5 locations are quite interesting. We don't know much about them, but we know that we're not getting actual Legion locations brought into Season of Discovery. It just doesn't work like that. Code doesn't work like that. You can't copy and paste. So we are getting new locations, probably based off incursion technology. Just as they used incursion technology to instance off world bosses, so now that it's an instance location that everybody can access, they're probably going to do the same thing with these 5 destinations. There may be more destinations in the future, but this is just the successor, the test, and I'm excited that they're testing new features because once Incursions failed, Season of Discovery is about discovery, and that discovery also extends to the devs trying out new things. Since we are welcoming back the Legion, I expect there to be some demon-themed items, some demon-themed rewards, mounts, titles, whatnot. But the cool thing about this is, destinations are 5-minute events. I don't know if all 5 destinations are, but the one destination that leaked this in the data mining I did showcases to us that the instances of 5 minutes, you go in, you kill a boss, you do a quest, you do a daily, you do whatnot. We aren't sure exactly what you do in those 5 minutes, whether this is a solo event, a group-based event, or a raid event. Nonetheless, 5 minutes, in and out, quick adventure, and you get your reward. Now, once these portals collapse, I don't know if they collapse only after you've killed the boss, or if that collapse begins the moment you enter. So we'll have to wait and find out. Arrogant is being tight-lipped as of now, and I completely understand that. Nobody wants to spoil things 7 weeks in advance of a phase dropping. Yes, the PTR is probably going to be 2 goddamn months. I'm unhappy, you're unhappy, but I would rather a finished, full, juicy phase 4 than another phase 3. And if you want another phase 3, why? Moving on from destinations, because as amazing as they are, we have no goddamn clue what they're about or what we're going to do in them. But we do know something new. As I said in the opening, we have the Undermine and the Undermarket. And the Undermine has an interesting new currency, the Tarnished Undermine Real. The text flavor for this currency is interesting because it talks about the Undermine. Now, many of you may not be familiar with the Undermine, and I know I've said that so many times back to back, it's probably irritating your ears, and understandable. But the Undermine is a big location from back in the OG days. It was a scrap location, and nobody is exactly sure what it was meant to be, but it became Kazan in spiritual successors, for example, in Cataclysm and onwards. Now, the Undermine is, I assume, some kind of goblin empire, enterprise, trade center, whatnot. But rewards and goodies are leaking from there, and they're not valuable in Undermine itself, but they're valuable in the overworld. So that's an interesting situation. On top of that, we have a new vendor whose name is Pix Zizix. I had to look to the side to say her name because goddamn, why is it written like that? And Pix is the Undermine trader. So now that we know that there's a new currency and there's a new trader that you can spend this currency at, let's discuss the currency and the Undermine reputation / faction. The Tarnished Undermine Reel is an interesting currency because we're not sure exactly how you get it. All I really know is you get 2 of them every time you complete an act that rewards it. I don't know if that's killing a boss, if it's a quest, if it's a daily, if you just get it for participating in events. I don't know. But you get 2 of them with a cap of 100. So that makes me think that this is going to be used to buy your tier 0, 0.5 or even tier 1. And I did also data mine tier 1 tokens. So we know for a fact there are tokens in the following raid tier. Which nobody's really surprised about, that was kind of obvious that it was going to happen. Now, I'm not exactly sure if there's only one vendor, but with it being a goblin vendor, Undermine being goblin enterprise and whatnot, I expect this might be a global currency, maybe a global event overall, but I can't tell you for sure. All we know is goblins are going to goblin. And not only do we have the good goblins, we have the bad goblins. That's right, the Undermarket. Some of you may have heard of this name getting your runes in phase 3, but the Undermarket are villainous trade enterprises. And they are smugglers, buccaneers, pirates, you name it. If they're evil, they're part of the Undermarket. And these people are very likely at war with the Undermine, which brings me to the new reputation, the Undermine supply crate. And the Undermine supply crate might be part of the existing supply crate reputation and system, but based on its name, I think this is going to be a separate reputation which you have to grind all over again, just to make it so you can't buy the exalted rewards from the get-go. Especially with there being a new currency and a new vendor as well, it makes perfect sense. Now, you might be wondering how I know or think that the Undermine and the Undermarket are at war. And the reason I think they are is because we already have killed the Undermarket, the Undermine are new people, and so far all I have is the vendor. And I don't think we're killing a vendor in this case, especially when we also have a currency tied to that vendor. So that makes me think that the global new enemy is the Undermarket. And on top of that, to make America proud, we are going to be attacking an oil field, because oil only belongs to America, and thanks to the god Undermarket, Americans are landing in Azeroth to take over this oil field. How do I know it's an oil field? Because there's a god NPC called Oil Rig. That's right, it's not a location, it's not a new place, it's not a new discovered zone. It's an NPC. It is a character. It's an oil rig. And this oil rig makes me think we have to destroy it. Now that's interesting. Why? I think it's going to be a cool quest. We're going to be walking away from the fire like a badass. Or we're just going to be destroying an oil rig because it's funny. I'm not sure, but I think it's cool. The real reason though is it's probably an NPC because of classic spaghetti code of adding a new object onto the overland layer. Because if you think about it, adding a new object to classic might break classic because the code is made of spaghetti and they barely finished classic back in the day with how much content they cut to make the timelines. They in fact moved on to TBC and Wrath of the Lich King because classic was so janky that it's hard to fix. That's why they did Cataclysm. It's a whole new classic. It's a whole new world. It's a world that they can actually fix and improve. Nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting experience to explore an NPC. Saying that out loud makes me sound like a pervert. I am not a pervert, but that is what we're doing in game. But then moving on from the oil rig, because enough about America, we are talking about Sebastian Jurgen, the Mad Doctor. Now what exactly is the Mad Doctor? Probably just a rune vendor. Why am I even mentioning him? Now when you say a rune vendor, you might all get excited saying, Eben, we get to buy runes? No, you're probably gonna have to kill him to unlock a rune for certain classes. Yes, I know, it sucks. But hey, he sounds cool as f. But it could also be a rune vendor. We know that there are now find on account vendors for runes that you can buy. For example, your ring slots. Now, can you buy them or do you have to get them and then you can send it back and forth? I don't know. But if somebody was going to sell runes, a Mad Doctor makes sense, don't you think? Again, conspiracy theorist, I'm theorizing. I'm also on crack cocaine copium because I just want God Phase 4 and more Season of Discovery. But we're going to move on from Sebastian because there's not much information about him aside from the fact that he looks quite cool. But the coolest thing, and that's something I mentioned earlier on in the video, is the god Paladin Squire. That's right. As I said, it's a little mini you. It's a paladin boy that you take from being a blue relic to an epic relic. And that is cool as in my opinion. Honestly, it's a really baller move by Blizzard. The fact that you can level up your own relic and it has a cool thing that you get someone that helps you fight in combat. It's just a really cool idea overall. The one thing I am going to criticize is, why don't the paladins get a squire? As a druid player, where is my mini treant or my mini boomkin? As a warrior, where is my mini pocket priest? As many other classes, where is my mini whatever? You cannot just give paladin a god squire and expect the rest of us to be happy. That is treason, that is heresy, and I am quite unhappy. But for all the paladin players, congratulations and go for it. But that is all the news I have for today. There is more news to be discovered, but that is not being discovered today because I have datamined the last data to mine. There will be more news and more info to datamine coming on Phase 4's second week of the PTR, which will be this Thursday or Friday, as they've delayed it for this week. The PTR was meant to come out Tuesday, but they haven't been able to make it, so it's going to be coming out later on. For those of you that watched this far, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out immensely. For those of you that aren't subscribing, go for it. I'm joking. I love you anyways. I don't care. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody. Ebonhard out. The ANN News Network. We'll see you all later.